Good morning.
Hi, Phoebe. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Good. Haven't seen you in ages.
I know. Give me 15 minutes and you'll see me, but I
Okay.
I'm just in the process of getting presentable here. But I've been really loving listening to the videos.
Great. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, is this link different from the link that you have on the oneness.info site? Because I just tried signing in on that like 3 times, and it kept saying that the host had not started the meeting.
Yeah, look, I was late tonight. I I left it too late to have my shower. I was here about 1 minute to, uh, and then I had technical difficulties. My bloody computer wouldn't connect to the internet, so I had to reboot it. So I
Oh,
didn't get in
got
until
it, got
about
it, got it.
four
Okay,
minutes
good,
late. Yeah.
good. Um, but anyway, I love hearing Lou. Like Lou is just such a,
Oh, yes.
oh my God, I just love listening to her. And I don't know if it was a recent video or something a while ago, but a woman named Catherine was talking, and she, oh my gosh, she was just wonderful. She was in tears because her life just feels like it's falling apart. She moved across the United States for a new job. She's 6 months into it, not, you
Yes.
know,
Yeah, I
it's
remember. Yeah.
what a beautiful, just
Mm,
beautiful. Oh my God, I just loved her.
yeah.
So, um,
There's a lot of great people in the world, isn't there?
I know. But since it's still just the two of us, oh, we're being recorded, right?
Yes, I'm recording. Yeah. But I can
Okay.
stop any time if you want.
Why don't you stop it right now?
Sure. No worries.
Yeah, I just didn't want
Yep, I get
my,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, he has an old chair. It's probably, oh, I don't know, 30 or 40, maybe, he may be 30 years old. An old Ethan Allen chair, which was just shredded by a bunch of cats that he and
Ah,
his
yeah, yeah.
wife had had. So I mean, it was shredded and it was filthy, and but it was really well made. And we decided to get it reupholstered. And we had selected the fabric, and the morning that he left for Las Vegas, I sent his stepson, who lives across the street from an upholsterer, a text saying, "I'd like to move on this while John's away."
Mm.
And and Greg got back to me and he said, "Well, you might be waiting 6 months or more in a queue." And I said, "I understand that. I just want to get it started." And um, well, the next thing I know, 2 nights later, texts me and says, "Are you at home? I want to pick up the chair." And I said, "Well, I'm not. I'm with my mother in the nursing home, but let yourself in." So he came and he got the chair, and I think I think he's going to pay for it for us as a gift to John.
Oh, very
And
nice.
because I sent him a text and I said, "Can I Venmo you a deposit?" And he said, "Oh, that won't be necessary." And I thought, in whose world no upholsterer is going to front the money for the fabric?
Mm, mm.
You have to pay for the things. Oh, come here. I know it's okay. It's okay. Come here. So anyway, so he's going to try to get this chair done. before John gets back. So when John returns the chair, it's not. I said, how did you do that? I thought the queue was like 6 months. He said, well, I pulled in a bunch of favors.
Oh,
I said, oh my God,
yeah,
you must have. Anyway, so that's exciting. You know, these,
yeah, it's all creative
yeah,
stuff, isn't it?
yeah. And yeah, so I'm just happy. He John's for years, you know, it's been 6 years we've been together now. For years, I was like, I can never be with you because of where you live, because his house is situated probably less than a mile from towers, the nuclear energy site. You,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, so it's we're I mean, we're not under the shadow of it, but we are really close to those towers.
Mm,
And but you know what? I don't care.
mm. Not much point in, is there?
It I just don't look in that direction. It's like I look in the so it's really nice to get to a place where of contentment. It's like I'm content with what we have and where we are. And I'm starting to get my studio pulled together and getting some work done. And so things are just, you know, they're sort of just falling into place.
Excellent, excellent. So,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
suffering? Is there any suffering anymore?
You know, I wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes with anxiety, and I put you on. I mean, if you ever noticed someone signing in at like 2 and 3 and 4 in the morning from the US, that is me.
So,
But it's,
does it work? That's the trick.
I'll tell you what works. No control. I know. I'm talking to Vince. Um, no control. Whenever you start to talk to someone about no control, it's like I take a deep breath and it's like
Yes, letting go. Mm,
I can just let go. So
mm.
having my knickers in a twist isn't going to change anything.
Yep.
What has helped is um, I found a, a podcast with these two artists up in, I think they're in Massachusetts, I think, or Connecticut or Massachusetts. Anyway, they're brilliant guys, just brilliant, and they interview unbelievable artists. And listening to the dialogue and Frankie, stop it, stop. Listening to the dialogue between these artists has really helped me calm down and settle into, oh, I'm just an artist. Half of my neuroses is just being an artist. It's very grounding.
Mm,
It's um and also they talk about how they work through their blocks, and it's so I'm just in a great space.
mm. Excellent.
Oh, I'm in a great space. And thank you for Declan's information. I reached out to him,
Mm,
and
good. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. He's what a beautiful guy.
he is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but I miss Dennis. Have you seen him at all? Has he?
Haven't seen Dennis in a while now. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
often wonder when I don't see somebody anymore, is it because they no longer need this or because they've given up or something else? I don't know. Yeah.
well,
Not it,
he
it
posts
doesn't
he
matter
posts
really. It's just playing.
yeah, he posted something on Facebook about being in some kind of car race. So I think he's okay. I
Oh,
think
good,
he's
good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I have his information and I can reach out to him.
Mm.
I am it's funny. I'm trying to get semi-presentable. And I know I don't know. Is it Marius who's like, well, you should be able to come on just the way you are? And it's like, Marius, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. Good. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, oh, someone came on and then they left.
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a good reminder of how we make meaning out of things.
What is?
Well, something like that. Somebody coming on and leaving again, and then we wonder, what does that mean?
Right. Here we go. Okay, now I'm going downstairs and I'm going to turn my video on and we can actually see each other.
All right, great.
Come on, Frankie. Frankie likes to race. There he comes.
Hi, Kate.
There we go. Come on, buddy. There. There we go. Okay. There we go. All right. So,
Yeah.
um, so anyway, one of the things that I don't know who was talking about it, but they were talking about, or maybe it was you, they were talking about not searching or not struggling. And so I just thought, well, that's me. I just, I'm not, I'm just going with the flow. And the question is contentment. Am I content? Am I at peace? Am I happy? Am I getting stuff done? Which is not to say there's an pain in my body. I have pain in my knees recently.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm definitely, this thing about, and the question about, am I awake? And I'm like, I have no idea if I'm awake or not.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. The and what I do is when I'm really trying to really come into my body and feel, am I what am I actually feeling? Um, and that's it.
Mm.
Getting out of my head and realizing I have no control. And it's the funniest thing because that is the most comforting thing to me. It's like I've, I've, I have no control. And then I can just relax and then let life happen however it happens.
Hmm.
I either make the bed or I don't make the bed. I do the laundry or don't do the laundry, you know. Um, but life is good. Life is good. Yeah. Back in last month, rather, John's stepson's wife posted something on Instagram about how to start exercise. And she said, the goal is to do 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 150. Is that right? You wouldn't do 30 minutes a day. So, but she said, you don't start with that. You start with 1 minute a day and you give yourself a gold star and you say, I'm an exerciser. So I did. I started in October this month or last month. And I got up to 30 minutes on the elliptical, which is like a stationary bike, but you move your arms as well. And it almost killed me. The first day I started, I did 5 minutes on day one. Almost killed me. But then I got up to 30 minutes. And then my knees started hurting me. So then I had to back off. And it's like, okay, well, Phoebe, I think my form's not right. But anyway, I'll work that. I'll work that out. But that feels good. It feels good that I want a strong body and that's working, you
Mm.
know. So so that's
And seeing improvement feels good too, doesn't it?
it does. It does. And practically my balance is better. I mean, having stronger leg muscles definitely affects balance. So
Mm.
so anyway, so that that all feels good. Sort of acceptance of where I am and um but excited about there's an open studio tour in November on the 14th and 15th of this building that I moved into with where my art studio is. And I might there should be foot traffic and I might make contacts and get business and
Who knows?
sell works. Yeah, so that feels great. That feels great.
You'll have some work on display there for that.
Yeah, I have it. I have it hanging. I hung up my work outside the studio itself. So in the hallways, I have my work. So it looks like a gallery outside, and it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful, and I love my work.
Right.
And yeah, yeah. So that just all feels good.
Yeah,
So
great.
I'm in a good spot.
Excellent. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Phoebe. Yeah. What kind of spot are you in, Helen?
Oh, hi. Uh, so I was thinking just by the the action of me coming on here says I must be still searching. So I'm thinking, by default, just being here and still listening and a lot to all the non-duality stuff and
Yeah,
and and I thought that had started to fade. But it clearly hasn't. I'm still looking for something. I must be still looking for something that's not here.
sure. But it's not necessarily a linear process either, So we're up and down, in and out, come and go. You know, we have plateaus where we rest for a while and then we start.
Yeah. Oh,
climb
yeah,
again.
I'm sure that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no final destination, but
Now, your logic about that,
yeah, I thought I wouldn't sort of need what I'm feeling I need at the minute. And like I said, just by being here,
yeah, well, that's
feels to me I'm still looking for something.
right. So that's the issue well, that's the point, that it feels to you like you're still looking. The logic that because you're here, you must be still looking, that doesn't work. Others come without the looking for some change. They come to just be with somebody, or they come to just be in this space. So it's not good logic that says because you're here, you must be searching, but it is good description of your experiencing if you say, I feel like I'm still searching, or I feel like there's something missing.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I suppose it's wrong of me to look at other people's reasons as to why they're here. It
Mm.
was just my reasoning.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and it's good reasoning, you know. Except what I'm wanting to do is point out that we got to be a bit careful trusting logic. You know, we often use false logic. You know, we can talk about, you know, because something feels like something, it must be something, is not good logic, and yet we use that one a lot. But regardless, if you're saying that at the moment it feels like there's something missing, something you could look for, whatever, that's that's good reporting. With the getting out of the mind and getting into the body is a good. I'm a bit hesitant to say it's a good technique to start with, in that it gets us out of that thought loop that seems to have dominance often. But once that's broken, we can start to look at things a little bit differently. Thought can
you,
start to have a place again.
you, you see, again, I thought that's what was happening. I thought I was doing that. I thought I was going into body rather than into thought. I thought I'd not made that, or
Yeah,
um,
it happens fairly spontaneously. Is that what you're saying?
no, I wouldn't say spontaneously. I don't think I'm not really recognizing it like that. No, I feel that I still have to perhaps remind myself.
Okay.
I, I think I was getting up into my head about oh, how can I say it? Um oh, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's play with this a little bit. Let's look at there's a it can be tricky to discriminate between what an actual feeling is, an actual sensation, and what we think about it. It's when I say it, it sounds like it's obviously they're two different things. But the reality for a lot of people is that they think they're focused on sensation when in fact they're focused on the sensation that comes from thinking about it, not the original one. So it's a bit of a trick, that one. But the way to be sure is to ask yourself, am I experiencing that which is too complex and too subtle to describe accurately? So if you can come up with a label for what you're feeling, your sensations, that's not it. That's your
I can never, yeah, I can never do that. I can never find a label.
right.
And perhaps
Excellent,
that,
excellent. All right, good stuff. Yeah,
but that might be what's sending it back up to my head to find a label. But I can't find a label.
right. Well, good. Well, good. And don't look for a label. You don't need to look for a label. When you're immersed in the experiencing of a sensation, in order to describe it, you get out of it. You've got to get out of it. You can't continue to be in it and describe it. You've got to think about it. And when you think about it, it takes you out of it. So really what you're looking for, you don't go looking for labels. What you want to do is sink into what is this experiencing? What am I feeling? And when you can it's almost like gravity is different and you're just floating down like one of those balloons that's floating just heavy enough to float down and bounce on the floor kind of thing. That's the level of feeling of the sensations that you want to get into without being able to describe them. And then you've definitely not in your head doing that. And having being able to do that, big step, huge step. The next step after that gets invited at that point, because in that sensation you'll get shown stuff. You will experience thought stories about what's going on. Now you don't put any credibility in those stories, but you do notice them. Simply noticing them as they go by, and some of them will reveal stuff to you, will reveal what's going on for you, what the actual trigger was that took you into that in the first place.
Do you know? I sort of feel that that's what I need at this point. The the thought process is that, because I wake up every morning and it's awful. It's not fear and it's not dread, and it moves through pretty quickly. But you know, but it's there, and I try to sort of, I've seen a few times when I've tried to sort of listen to it or go in the body that that some I can find myself trying to get away from it. So I think,
Mm.
right, this is what I need to stay with and stay with. But then I afterwards think, well, did I stay with that? But I don't know, and it's I just feel it's there all the time, just this subtle underlying
Yeah.
of something that needs to be met.
Yes, that's good.
I,
And
I
can
feel
you?
this is the crutch, the crux as to where I am.
Yep,
That
yep.
I feel I need to see something that I can't really.
Something, yes, something hidden needs to be revealed for sure. All right, good
Yes,
stuff. Yeah,
that's what I feel. Yes, yes.
right. But we've got to be careful that we don't get obsessed with digging it out, looking for it, and finding out what it's about, because that's heading in the wrong direction again. See, that's going, well, we need an answer, we need a conclusion to this. You see, so that's not the way to go.
Oh damn! It just cuts off for a few minutes at the at the crucial bit.
Okay, that's all right.
I missed that. The last sort of bit of what you were saying. It sort of froze.
Yeah, okay, we'll
Oh
try to get
no, it's
no
done it
problem.
again.
Yes. Well, have you got me now? No. Oh, it's always at a critical moment, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Okay, no worries, no worries. Let's try it again. As long as I can remember it.
yeah,
So what I was saying is, you know, it's a tease. What's happening for you? You're getting this idea that there's something there that needs to be exposed, right? And it seems important. It's got a feeling of that this is valuable to do that.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. We need to be really careful that you don't get sucked into chasing it. If you get obsessed about finding out what it's about, that kind of stuff is down the wrong road. Essentially looking for a conclusion to it. Because there is well, this is anyway, I'll just say there is no conclusion, right?
No, no, they
Everything is
can't
always
be.
on the way to things, yeah. So
Yeah,
do you appreciate that your knowing of it and that you're touching it each time it appears, you're just nudging it a little bit with your shoulder. You're just touching it as you, right? And then it's all of that stuff is part of the process, right? It will. So we talk about it like it's a thing, but it's not.
no,
But essentially to say that get familiar, get intimate with it, and things will happen. Especially because you
yeah,
say it's got that awful feeling about it that you can't quite define,
yeah,
and it's good. You
yeah.
don't try and define it. It's that kind of
No,
limits it, you know. Um, but that kind of tells you that it's important, doesn't it? That's part of what the message is for you. Right?
yeah, I feel it is important.
Yeah.
Something needs to be. It feels like something needs to be freed up.
Yes. Well, let's put it another way, and I just love this analogy that use for this. It's like you want a bird to come and eat out of your hand. So you've got some bird food in your palm of your hand, and you're holding your hand out, and you're inviting this bird. And the only way this bird is going to come is when it feels safe, and you're going to be really still and non-threatening and really patient, right? And it might take quite a while. It might take many goes before this bird will come and eat and sit on your hand and eat out of your hand. And that's what you're looking for with this. It's an invitation coupled with great patience and non-judgment and all of that, and then it will reveal itself, if not in detail. That's not necessary to find the detail, but just knowing that there is something there that doesn't need to be there. It's thinks its job is to look after you, and it doesn't. You know, you're not a little girl anymore. You're not somebody that needs to be looked after like that now, but it still thinks that. So that's why, you know. So yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen. You've got the right interest, and you are kind of inviting it because you're curious. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds very beautiful, very gentle, and very sensitive. I think I've been going at it in my normal way of what I've been all my life, very self critical and come on, let's get this done because I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure the way I'm trying to go at it is a bit more with a hammer, come on, let's get in there, let's have a look at this. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And you were kind of in and out a little bit earlier on, but you might have missed Phoebe talking about the beauty of recognizing that there's no control, that the wonderful freedom that offers, with that acceptance of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what I was sort of I was alluding to earlier. I know there's no control. There can't be any control. There is no control whatsoever. And I've recognised that time and time and time again. And at first it shocked me, you know, it took me a long while a few years ago to get over that, because I found that quite shocking to the system that I've no control. And my system took a long while to sort of calm down about that.
Accept it, yeah.
Yeah. And whilst I could say, well, I've no control, there was still something there. Oh, really?
Well, that's exactly. So you can know there's no control, but it takes the nervous
Yeah.
system a while to catch up sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. It
And
took
it
my
comes in
nervous
and out
system.
again as well, you know. So you can
Yeah.
go, "Oh, right now I feel there's no control. Great, you know." And then 10
Yeah.
minutes later, you're going, "Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to get in and do it." Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, that it's been swings and swinging backwards and forwards, and it's all right when things are going good and, oh, I've no control. Then as soon as something like, you know, it starts to break down, like I've got, you know, cancer diagnosis and I'm waiting for some results, and hold on, you know you've no control, but something as strong as this,
Yes.
it all that all falls apart.
Yeah. Also, there's some stuff to learn, or with the integration of that recognizing there's no control. There's also no out of control or no not control. They're equally true. It's a bit of a hard way to put it because there aren't the right words, or at least I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're not victims.
No,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Not a victim. Yes. Because I suddenly realised again some years ago, through all of this, that I was a victim. That there's some things in my life I was walking the walk of a victim. Thought, whoa, just a minute, am I? And that was, you know. So I've gone through many sort of, wow, you know, this is what I'm holding. These are the beliefs I'm holding.
Yeah.
So there's been many of those that's been looked through and seen through, and it's like a bit of a wow, you know. And again, it really hurt to go through it.
Yeah. But it won't hurt as much when they come back because something triggers them. You know, you just look at it and you go, "Oh, okay, you again, okay," and it's gone. You know, it doesn't keep hurting like that. That's just the beginning part of it. Yeah.
Right. But again, it's only in times of, it's all right when things are wonderful and plain sailing, everything's settled and everything's sort of, you know, waltzing
Yeah.
along. Is when you're coming up with real, you know, life throws at you some real challenges. That's when sort of the rubber hits the road, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a bit of a trap in that one too, because you start wanting a challenge, you know, because it's been so long.
You sort of do, yeah. When everything, yeah, a bit back when everything was all right. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Throw me a challenge, and yeah, I've got one now. But hey oh, but yeah.
Kate's nodding. She knows.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, the gentle, soft laid bird in the hand sounded quite wonderful, and I'll try and not try, no, no, but yeah, that just sounded wonderful, and that sort of,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes we just need to, well, be reminded, or have a different perspective offered, you know, that we never thought of ourselves. And then all of a sudden we've got a different way in, so to speak.
that's right, yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's been some wonderful things spoken. Last week with Marius, and I think there's just three people. There's just you, Marius, and someone else, and there was some real sort of, I don't know, real things to, stuff to real contemplate on. And at some points I sort of think, oh, well, yeah, I get that, and I get that, and I get that. And I can feel a bit of pride creeping in, well, I get that. Like, oh, dear. Yeah, I did get that.
Yeah. But you recognize that bit of pride. You recognize that happening, Yeah, that's great.
Oh, yeah. It's only when I come away later and I got that. I'm quite chuffed about that. Ooh,
Yeah. So there's kind of no end to that, Oh, I found myself feeling good about that. Isn't it good that I felt something about that? And then you go,
yeah.
hang on.
Right.
Yeah. Go back multiple steps. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is funny. It is quite hilarious when you catch that. You can see it going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes it feels in my person, there's a bit of a race to understand, and a race to get it, and race to sort of and I sort of recognise that as well. So it's like, hold on a minute, this is all very simple. It's not as complex as you're making it out to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah. I try and drop back to, hold on, this is very, very simple. Just hear what is being presented, what is being heard, and what life is sort of showing at the minute. So get off your high horse and
Yeah.
yeah.
Life good for you, Kate?
Well, coming here is good. It's the weirdest thing, just looking at these little boxes, and I'm thinking to myself, thanks everybody, which one of these is me? Because you've all, Helen and Phoebe have both said things that, I could, that I completely recognise. Not that I'm particularly necessarily in exactly the same place, but, these are great. Thank you, Vince. It's really, really appreciated.
Very welcome. Yeah, it's like anybody can talk about anything, and it can be about me. And it's like it occurred, just a flash occurred to me recently. I don't remember exactly when. Yesterday, today, I don't know, but that flash was that's a version of non-separation. Even though I know that what I'm experiencing is my version of what I imagine you might be experiencing or somebody else, it's still a connection. There's still a you and me are connected because here I am responding to what I imagine is happening in you. It's a lovely thing. Yeah. It's kind of mind-boggling to consider. We're obviously all of us totally unique, absolutely unique. There's not a bit of my experience that I imagine anybody else could or has ever experienced the way I experience it. It's a version of sitting in the shopping centre waiting for my wife and watching 1,000 people walk by, and there's not one the same as anybody else. And if I watched the whole world go past me, and hardly any of them would look like anybody else. Everybody's unique, and yet we're all human. It's a mind boggle. How can we be so different and so the same at the same time? Yeah, it just. What a fantastic mystery.
And yet we share to different degrees fears and likes and dislikes, but perhaps not as tight as small subtleties as that. But we do share a lot of commonalities that we can empathise and know that, you know, oh, that's like me. I felt like that the other day, and that's so. I find that a bit of a mind boggle too. That we can all be so individual, but yet share so many.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thoughts and feelings, and yeah.
Well, I wanted to poke you, Vince, about this, you know, I've got no agency versus, you know, I've just heard you say, you know, you haven't got nothing, but you haven't got agency. And I've had what feels like you know, looking back, a good week, sort of bobbing around and just being aware of doing what, I don't know whether it's just doing what, you know, what does the situation need and responding to it. But then there was what Phoebe was talking about, you know, all this propaganda about exercise and, you know, essentially, I want to be, you know, something about I want to be better in some way. And you turn on a switch and you go to the gym and you get better. And then you do feel better. You know, then there's something of you that is feeling better for it. So what's going on? What's going on there? You know, so Phoebe took herself off to the gym and suffered and put herself through something and kept at it. And then are we saying that you're a better person, that you're saying that you're stronger and you're more resilient and you don't topple over and all that? But you know, what's the decision? You know, it feels like you made a decision and then committed to it, and such and such happened. So what's you know, it does sound as though you were, and I feel I've done it. You know, this is stuff I've done myself, so I'm owning all this. So you know, it does feel as though there was some choice. I mean, obviously, it was choice in the face of incoming messages about, you know, you could do with a stronger body, and that sort of landing in some way. But then, but there is a sort of me in there that has to invest in this, you know, invest in this future. And yet I can, you know, spend hours or days sort of not sort of wandering about in a me.
Well, it's a story that there was a me in there, and it's a way of describing things that Phoebe got on the trainer and did what she did. But that's just a way of describing it. What actually happened would be that something triggered the idea to use the elliptical trainer or to get stronger. And then, I mean, there might have been a whole lot of other ideas triggered that weren't acted on, but that one got acted on for some reason. It was given more priority maybe than some of the ones that got discarded, and we don't even remember anymore because they never eventuated. It's when, like when Helen was saying, that she got a bit chuffed about some success. At that point, a self gets created. It doesn't have to be there the moment before. We're not making the assumption that this is something that has continuity. But we recognize that what we've got, that when we say the self gets created, the illusion of a self gets created, or we can describe what happened from a perspective of a self. So there's still only descriptions about what the actual experience was. What the actual experience was a feeling of pride, or however you want to describe it. But you can see quite quickly that feeling was the result of a story about, aren't I good, or whatever. And that's the part that we don't need. We can still feel good about being stronger. We can still feel good about whatever thing happens that we have a story about that says it's good that that happens. We can feel good about that without it being a pride event. But there is a distinct difference when it becomes a pride event, which is a follow-on. It is that, that there is the happening, and then there is the story about it, and then there is the feeling that comes from that story that we might call pride.
Yeah, Kate, one of the things that I deal with, as Helen had mentioned earlier, was this victim mentality that I have, which I have. I just was such a great victim my whole life. Like, I just really embraced it. And that's one issue over here. And then over here is this body that I have that is just remarkable. It's so remarkable. It only takes me, God, a week or 2 weeks for it to get strong. It happens so quickly. And my body loves how responsive and strong it is. Like, I can't get over how responsive my body is to anything I do, exercise and I really take delight in this meat suit, as Pernilla calls it. Like, I've got a great meat suit. It's so strong when I work it. It responds immediately. My muscles start toning up. I and I I feel delight in that. I mean, I get delight in that. So it's my body that I was listening to, my body's desire itself to work itself, to get strong, to I it's and it's probably hormonal because there's this reward. There's a reward, um, which feels so much fucking better than being a victim. I mean, it's like, oh, woe is me, and my balance is off, and I'm confused, and I'm anxious, and it's like, fuck that. I just, given a choice, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, and with that comes contentment and pleasure and just the simple act of sweating, of breaking a sweat. I was I was with my husband for 31 years, and I think he saw me break a sweat twice because I just don't sweat. I mean, I can work outside in 90-degree weather. I don't sweat. So when I'm on this elliptical, which is in my living room, which is in where John's stepson gave us this because he wanted it out of his house. So we have it, it's right here. I come down the stairs. I don't have to go to a gym. If I had to go to a gym, it would not happen, that because I'm not doing that. So so what I'm trying to do is listen to my body, which is not to say that my ego's not totally involved. I'm delighted with how I look in my jeans when I'm exercising. And that's ego, and I get it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but but it's not that. I don't think it's that simple, because if it was just the ego, I would not have gotten on it, because still be wrapped up in that whole victim thing of, oh gosh, blah, 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 which I did for 70 years, really effectively and well. But I'm just trying something different. I'm just trying some different things. And
Mm. So I wonder, and I want you to check this out. When you say you're delighted in how you look in your jeans, and that's ego, that's not clear to me that it doesn't have to be. You can be delighted how you look without it being ego. Right?
how?
Well,
How?
well, what I'm saying is there a sense of pride? Is what you see when you look a description that has no doubt has stories attached to it about being healthy and so on, or is there a pride that says, oh, aren't I good because of this? That would be the second one would be ego. The first one wouldn't be ego. You could still get great joy. If I hit a good golf shot, I love it. It's a good,
Yeah.
you know, same thing. But I don't say, aren't I good because of it? To do that, I'd have to be able to do it again, and that's not going to happen, most likely.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good question. You know, one of the things I deal with is arthritis.
Mm-hmm.
I have arthritis, especially in my right hand, which is what I use to do my artwork. Right. But when I keep my diet really clean, I don't have arthritis.
Mm.
And that, so when I do what's good for my body, yeah, I'm just pleased. I'm like, wow, I have no pain. This is amazing. I have no pain in my right hand, because 2 months ago, I couldn't move my right hand. It was a lot of pain in it.
Mm.
And yeah, so it just feels good. It feels good to be vital and strong. That's it.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. And so here's an interesting one. This is how things work in reality. You know, I went to the doctor. What's today? Saturday. 3 days ago to get the results of a blood test and a urine test and stuff that I had to get to renew my driver's license because I'm old. So I've got to go every year and get a medical checkup to be able to continue to drive. Anyway, the results of my blood test and my urine test came back, and the doctor looked at them and then asked me how high I was and how much I weighed and did this and that, and then said, you're at a high risk of heart attack or a stroke.
Oh, baby.
Well, I didn't have that. I didn't have that reaction. I went, oh, okay, thank you. I haven't once felt a sense of dread or sadness or any negative feelings as a result of that. I've wondered what was happening. I've known I've been carrying this extra weight for quite a long time. And I've tried various things, kind of, I kind of limit what I eat. We don't eat much in the way of, never have dessert, and sweets are a very occasional thing, and so on and so on. So I kind of think I have a pretty good diet, but I know I eat too much bread. I don't have an excess of bread, but, like for lunch today, I had 2 tomato sandwiches. That was 4 slices of bread. And I could have eaten more, but I didn't, and I thought, oh, well, that's 1 slice too many. Maybe it's 2 slices too many. But I had it. I ate it. And I'm not going to lose weight at that rate. I've got to do something else, you know. And we walk every day, and we walk, and if I look at it, I've done 3,844 steps today. So I've only walked 3 kilometers. It's not been a big walking day. But I do exercise every day, but not enough. And I watch my diet, but not enough. And I do all of those things. And I'm wondering, what's going to happen? Am I going to lose weight? I say to myself, yeah, all right, time I had another fast. I haven't had a fast for a long time. That's a good way to start off. And then I have to be a lot more strict about what I eat, but does it happen or does it not happen, And then I sit here and I listen to you going, oh, it feels great to get strong again and to do that, and I'm starting to think, yeah, I'm going to walk a bit further. So you get me going. See, we're connected here. This thing
Yeah,
rubs off,
yeah,
Yeah. And that's what happens all day, every day. Things turn up and just affect the direction that movement happens in, or intentions
yeah,
triggered, and all sorts of
yeah,
things. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it
But
just feels like like when I'm on the elliptical, within 10 minutes, I've broken a sweat. And if I'm on there for 30 minutes, I'm sweating. And that feels vital. It feels, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to shower. I mean, I have to shower, I have to wash those clothes afterwards. That feels so wonderful. It feels wonderful.
Mm.
So, and it took me, I haven't exercised in, I'd say five years now of any kind besides walking. No yoga, which I used to love.
Yeah, me
Just,
too. Yeah.
so this is nice, and we'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all dopamine driven, guys. I'm like a dopamine bunny here. That's,
Yeah.
routine does not trigger dopamine. So
Mm. Good stuff.
anyway,
What were you
yeah.
going to say, Kate?
so how does, I mean, we're onto bodies now. So how does that connect with, and sometimes I just look, like a baby does. I look at this hand and I think, who does this belong to? There is, and all this, this whole stuff, what's the connection? I mean, I don't hold on to that very long, but actually many times a day, I will be, that
Yeah.
thought will cross my mind. What is is this? What's going on here?
Yeah.
So that's a sort of level of curiosity which I'm actually sort of a bit bewildered by at the moment.
Yeah. It's a big one, because the what's going on question, statement, really, more than a question, that, it's kind of implies the wonder of it, the mystery in it is implied there. And as long as we don't imagine that we're going to have an answer, we're in a good place. The moment you need to find an answer, you're in trouble. You've got to go looking for that answer, and you never know what you're going to end up with, and it's not going to be right anyway, probably. But regardless, so just wondering, just what's going on. Yeah, look, isn't it amazing? These things do what's necessary. I don't have to tell them what to do. You know, they know how to button up buttons and tie up shoelaces and pull up zips and do all sorts of things. They can wash dishes and they can do lots of things all by themselves. In fact, this whole body, I'm just absolutely amazed that it can keep on going, you know, doing what it does.
But presumably when we were all babies, you know, you do see babies looking at their hands and sort of in exactly what feels like exactly the same sort of wonder. And that all, you know, they're 5-6 months old, and that all coalesces into the whole meanness of everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But are we, yeah, and are they wrong? You know?
No, not wrong. And so here's an interesting one too. For people to wake up, I apologise for using that term, but for that to happen, they have to be lost in the illusion of a self first. Nobody stays awake from being a baby. So you might describe a baby as an awake being in a way, because they're not lost in thought. They're not conditioned yet to the extent where it runs their life. But they can't go through life like that. They couldn't function in that way. So we've got to develop this illusion of a self. We've got to go through and build up an ego, if you like, before we can transcend it. That's a shitty way to put it too, but you know what I mean. It's important, you know, and kind of, although you see kids at 2 and 2.5 years old, and you think, wow, you know, they're amazing. What they're going to be able to do anything in this world, and then you see them 2 years later, and they're just ordinary. You know, they've lost it. That happens all the time, you know, because conditioning kind of kills the spirit to a large extent. Yeah. So it's a great analogy what you say. It's like a baby, you know. It is that freshness that we see the world and see ourselves at. That's part of the contentment, and well, the excitement that comes with the contentment about life.
Something interesting happened this last couple of months. I had a fall, a really nasty fall. Didn't break anything, fortunately, but I could barely move. I'd sort of smashed my hip into a step, and it was agony, absolute agony. So for 2 weeks, I just couldn't walk anywhere or do anything. And after those 2 weeks of not doing a lot and sitting in one spot all the time, husband, you know, brought me food, so I'm grateful for that. But after being in a position for 2 weeks, I managed to get to the physio, and the strength was still there, but the proprioception had diminished. And she explained to me all about this proprioception, and it was quite fascinating because I lost all my confidence in my own space somehow. But I had to have it explained to me, and it was absolutely fascinating how mind and body operate together, which I didn't think much of. You know, I thought, well, look, lots of exercise, all these exercises that she's going to get me to do, and one thing that I'll be struck. But it wasn't like that at all, because I had to do various exercises, which, you know, they're fairly simple exercises on strengthening them for my thigh muscles, and not so much my core, but my thigh muscles, and that sense of balance. But that sense of balance was so shifted, and it was this proprioception thing. And it's like when you're sort of late into your 70s or something like that, and you know, if you have a fall and you break your hip and you're not mobile for such a long time, that
You get
proprioception
pneumonia and
apparently,
die frequently.
yeah, that the proprioception gets diminished anyway with age, but as with a fall added to it, it's really something that really causes a lot of bother.
So what's I don't know proprioception. It sounds like your ability to feel.
Oh no, something entirely different.
Yeah.
It's our being in space. So our spatial aware. It's about spatial
Oh,
awareness.
right. Okay. Yes. Got it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
spatial awareness, and that. And she described it like I said, as you get older anyway, and you become more immobile. So you know, and later in life, if we're fortunate enough to live to a grand old age, that movement's very much restricted. So therefore, that proprioception, that spatial awareness, diminishes in strength.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's
she
something
said,
we take for granted, isn't it?
yeah, it so is. And she said, if when you watch very old people walking that really struggling with proprioception, they walk with the feet shoulder width apart and have that, you know, they've got the strength, but it's slightly awry somehow. And she reckons it's, well, that the physiotherapist world was saying it's something like that. And that's how I experienced it, because my confidence of going down steps and all of that, even though I had the strength, but, and I just went, oh, it's my confidence. But she said it was something more.
Mm. Mm.
It's more a sort of a neurological thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I found really quite fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, we don't even think about it mostly, do we?
No, that was the
Until it
thing.
happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like, if I started to go exercising now, oh, I tried swimming the other day and I sort of couldn't do it. And I've swum all my life. And it was a struggle. It was a struggle
Interesting.
to get everything going at once.
Mm.
That was quite a shock. But yeah. Yeah, it's just what we take for granted until it's gone or diminishing or, yeah. And walking won't solve it. Walking won't, not solve it. Walking won't be of any benefit for that. It will to a certain degree.
Yeah, but it's not active enough, or it's not what?
I don't. It's not positioning like up and down steps and.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So judging how far up, how far down.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know quite, you know, in great detail how it affects movement in terms of. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Get it.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Like pavements, like if it's a really up and downy pavement and with a few dips, and that's when we're more susceptible to falls, I think.
Yes. Yes.
When
Yeah.
you lose confidence in that sort of a terrain. I mean, I do now. I've got to watch my feet the whole time. I can't just walk through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got to watch it and look and.
Yeah, again, we take things for granted. I was walking over a bridge on the golf course the other day, and they had rubber mats on the bridge, and where it went down, it was up. It would have been that much that the lip of the mat was up, and I kicked it, nearly tripped over, nearly fell on that. I couldn't believe that I walk without lifting my feet any further than that off the ground.
Yeah,
What? I
yeah,
couldn't believe it. Yeah.
yeah. That's since that fall, that's happened to me a lot. Thought and that just kicking something that's only, like you say, a couple of millimeters high. I think, blinking heck, have I not lifted my leg up that high?
Yeah.
You know, but I
Mm.
obviously haven't. But I thought I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But who's the I that had that thought? I mean, you know, who,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I've just owned all of that. I've took ownership of I didn't lift my leg high enough. Yeah, automatically you take like ownership of that.
Mm,
When really there is no ownership of that. It just happened.
mm,
But yeah, our language says I didn't lift and I
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's like the language cornering the little baby into owning their hands, you know.
Mm.
I mean, it's not the only thing that's happening, but it, you know,
Yeah.
it sets the parameters of the story, doesn't it?
Mm.
But when I kicked that thing and nearly tripped, you know, the words I just said then, when I kicked it and nearly tripped, you know, but there was no, I didn't find myself berating myself for having done it.
No.
I didn't take, there was no response, no responsibility. It
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
bloody matter,
Yeah.
wasn't me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we do spend a
And
lot of time explaining things to ourselves, don't we?
yeah, we do. We can overdo it. See, I don't have any more. I've killed all the Advaita cops that I know, so that not going to pick me up on using language wrongly, because there's no alternative, is there? That's the only way we can talk about things. Yeah.
Mm.
If I suffered as a result of that, if I was to call myself stupid for doing it, or get angry, get angry at me, or get angry at the mat even, or get whatever, any of that kind of stuff, and that kind of stuff still does happen sometimes. The bane of my life once was trying to blow gum leaves off the front driveway. We've got a big gum tree next to us, and the blower, I've got a really quite powerful blower, but some gum leaves don't want to move. They just stick down, and I found myself getting angry at them, saying, move your bugger, get going. But you can see it when that happens. It kind of shouts at you that it's happened. Like you kind of, whoa! I took that seriously, didn't I? Um, but essentially, most of the time, it's just a description of if it needs a story around it, it'll just be a descriptive story.
Hang on, you know, when we were talking about Phoebe and her exercise, sorry, Phoebe, I mean, you're me as well. There was some sort of, I mean, is this all just explanate part of the story? There was some sort of continuity of purpose, some sort of sense of setting out. No? And you know, who owns that?
Well, let's start with, is it
Yeah.
owned rather than who owns it? After,
Is it owned? Yeah.
if we get a
Okay.
yes
Yeah.
to is it owned,
Yeah.
then we can
Yeah.
ask who. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. you're right. But there was, yeah, it's hard not to see some sort of
Yeah,
continuity.
yeah, I get that. I get that. Now, what does it mean? I mean, I get halfway through a question and realize how stupid it is. We do. I mean, so we know that there's no I, and yet sometimes it feels like there is. We know that there's no continuity, yet we quite easily imagine that tomorrow there'll be daylight and the sun will shine, and that yesterday it was whatever yesterday was. And so but the moment we look at it, we realize that it's a construct, an overlay, this continuity thing, that there is a yesterday that's more than just a memory of something, a construction even that the memory is, or that the expectation of a tomorrow is more than just a story that, I mean, I'm imagining blue sky and the sun and whatever because I want to play golf, but the reality might be a grey sky and rain. So just because I imagine it one way doesn't mean it's going to be like that. But I'm pretty certain that there'll be daylight there. But of course, that's a story too. So these things can happen, but the moment we look at it, we recognize that it's a bit different to when the happening was. So do we imagine that that's something that is on the way to the time when it won't happen? Well, I don't know the answer to that. So I'm quite content at this stage and in fact, I'm a bit celebratory if I recognize that I've been lost in a story and that investigation reveals that's what it is. It's just a story overlaid on something that happened. So that feels pretty good if it goes down that track. But that process doesn't happen very often. Like when I'm not here talking about this stuff, it's pretty normal. Daily life just goes on doing what it does. And that's not implying that it does with control. It's just the words again. The implication that it has to happen to somebody. I mean, I actually wrote a story about this the other day. It won't be out for a few days yet, because I've got so many other stories lined up in front of it. But I wrote a story that was based on the idea that, well, I have these thoughts and you don't have the thoughts that I have, therefore there must be a me here having these thoughts. And the logic of that just doesn't hold water. It's not a good story. But anyway, it was something. So there was a bit of an investigation into that, and that can take us into the subtlety of the difference between the feeling that would be there if the implication that there is an I is believed. There's a different feeling to if it's not believed. And even if it appears to be believed and it's looked at and seen to be a fallacy, but there comes a time when the nervous system will catch up and there just isn't. There isn't the feeling which we recognize as the identification or the connection to. Right? They're just words, nothing more than words. But it's never black and white. Of course, it's always there's takes a long time. I mean, I still find myself getting angry at a gum leaf sometimes. Which is funny when I see it happen. It's quite hilarious. Talk to it like it's going to respond. Like it's like when I play bowls and I've not made it go out wide enough, you know, and I find my leaning my body trying to influence this ball 60 meters away, and I'm trying to make it go this way by leaning my body. It's hilarious. But it happens. Yeah.
Well, Kate, we'll just see how much longer I continue this exercise routine because, all I can say is for now, I'm motivated because there's a chemical and hormonal thing that happens when I get my heart rate up, which is exciting and new for me because I have never, ever in my life done aerobic exercise. I've done calisthenics, I've done yoga, and I've walked, but I've never done anything to get my heart rate up. So this is, it's really a discovery process. So it's holding my attention because it's a discovery process. But, we'll see. We'll see how, we'll see. And the other thing is my knees became inflamed the other day. And I mean, they were hot, both of them. And I had to ice them and rest them. And, and then there was this feeling of, oh my gosh, I can't hurt my body. Like that's not what I'm not trying to hurt myself here. So I've got to back off, be smart, ice, rest. Then do I come back and try to do 5 or 10 minutes and,
Yeah.
watch
Listen to
my
your
form?
body. Your body will tell you.
Yeah. But I will say it's exciting to break a sweat for me because I have never done it and it feels great. Yeah. And I only have this body for how many years? Do you know what I mean? It's like when I was 40, I had my body, 40s, like great. But 70 is a different body. And now I have a mom who's 100 and I go and visit her in the nursing home. And chances are I might have 30 more years. And she's still strong as a ox. I mean, she is still strong. So it's very conceivable I could live to 100. So, and Helen, you were talking about that spatial awareness, and I've been hitting the walls and the banisters like 2 months ago, getting out of bed in the middle of the night to go pee. I bump into a wall or bump into the banister, or both on the same, like, because of spatial awareness. And that's also why I'm doing this exercise, is because that's not going to get better unless I do something.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's just going to continue.
Yeah.
So, and having strong leg muscles makes a huge difference. I haven't bumped into a wall or a banister in the last 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. My balance is much, much better. So, and that's a discovery process. That's like,
Mm.
oh, so
Yeah, it's inspirational.
Mm. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
But again, we'll see if I'm still doing this next month.
Yeah.
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 But I'm still poking around. Sorry, I mean poking
No, no.
around about this. This sense of responsibility for our bodies, and and that's the story, is it? I mean, the um, the sense of living in this body, the sense of there's somebody to find in here.
Mm. So does it
You know,
feel to you like you live in your body?
Today I feel less and less like I live in my body. I wouldn't be able to say where I was living though. And
Mm.
obviously all machinery seems to be visible. So there's some sort of connection. I'm not denying any of that. But
So when you look at your hand and you're struck with amazement at this thing that can do what it needs to do by itself, does it feel like you're looking at it from a, a place where you reside, a place in you? Or
yeah,
does
no, I'm
just
not
looking
meant
at
to
it
say
feel,
no, but actually I don't know what else to say.
yeah, yeah. So well,
Yeah.
you could, it's quite clear this feeling about the hand, there's this kind of like mm, weird kind of dissociation or something that you can get that. But you can look at it like I'm here seeing that,
Yeah.
or you can go, oh, that's there. And if the thought occurs to you to consider the seeing of it, then it's just that's here. It's not so much I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Do you get the subtle difference there?
Well, I wish I could say for sure that I got it, but there's something in that, isn't there?
Hmm.
That um,
So
you
probably have
know,
to wait
I,
until next time it happens. And because of this conversation, chances are the thought will occur to you to go, where is it being perceived from? What's the
mm,
process? What's going on there?
mm,
And
mm,
and you might discover that that's equally as objective as what the hand is. That there
yeah,
is. I mean, there's not. See, the the experience of seeing the the section of noticing, like just the hand. Try and describe it that we can actually recognize noticing of it, because this is weird. The noticing is in the hand,
yeah,
kind of. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
strange, that one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And the noticer is not noticed. unless you think about it. And when you do think about it, you stop noticing because you're in your thoughts.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Mm.
obviously the noticer only exists as a thought.
Yeah.
So does that mean there's just a direct, there's no sort of middleman, and it's just direct noticing of the hand, and that's all it is. It's in the hand. It is, I don't know. Is that what?
Yeah, that's really weird stuff to try and talk about. But yes, it's like this hand that's floating in the air in front of us. That's a story about it. But there is this hand, and we can only go to story to say that this hand is noticed, but this hand that is there is the noticing and the noticer.
Yeah.
It wouldn't if it without a if the if the noticing and the noticer were not there, there would be no hand there either. That's a bit of a weird one coming backwards at it, but essentially it's like the hand incorporates the noticing and the noticer. They're the same thing. They're not separate.
Mm.
But if we say with belief, I am noticing the hand, we create separation. We create the self as a separate entity, the illusion of anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me again what to do when this next happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we want is a thought to turn up that says, notice the noticing and notice the noticer. And watch when that happens, that the seeing of the hand will stop while that's going on.
Yeah.
They can't both exist together because they're separate items, and we can only do one and then the other and back and forward and back and forward. But when we're entranced by the existence of this hand seemingly looking after itself, there is no noticer or noticing. There's only the hand, and that feeling, that wonderful feeling of mystery about how can it be?
Mm.
What's actually going on? Yeah.
And that's presumably not just true of a hand, it would be true of a light switch.
Of anything, yes, of anything, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could do it right now. So you can pick any object in front of you, and as when you get involved in the seeing of it, you disappear and it
Yeah.
disappears. There is just the seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. That happens too. It's hard to remember when that happens. I think it must happen quite a lot of the time when you're just
Yes,
immersed in. But
absolutely.
there's something about what's the world that's happening in that doesn't sort of fix in memory. Could that be
Absolutely.
true?
And I've got a theory about that. I don't know if it's true or not, but the theory is that without a narration about it, there's nothing to put into memory.
Yeah.
Now, it's not quite true because we do remember experiences that we haven't narrated about, but essentially a lot of stuff. And I've talked to lots of people who are waking up and go, "Wow, I have trouble with memory," and I think it's
Yeah.
because
Me.
they have direct experience, and there's nothing gets stored away when there's a direct
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
You can remember that it happened sometimes, but not how it felt because it doesn't get stored. There's nothing to put into memory because it's
Yeah.
a pure experience. I just
Yeah.
suspect we need narration to remember. Now, there's a lot more to it than that. When we get into, I read an article yesterday that was quite enthralled about how to build a memory palace, and this went through the neurobiology, if you like, of the brain and why it works, right? And so when we associate things, how they can be memorized and so on, what happens. So one of the things that when we don't have a memory is we haven't made associations. And of course, an association requires a story. So when we have an experience with no story, there's nothing to remember.
So it's really good to hear you say that, because I must say I do think my memory is going to pot.
Yeah. And if we were to journal it or to examine it closer, you'll find that it's certain kind of things that you don't remember. Other things you have no trouble remembering. You know, so that's, I'm assuming that of you, because that's the way it is here as well. You know, like, so ask me what I did today, and it's hard work for me to go back and recall what I did today. You know, I can recall, there are moments that will happen. I can remember looking at my watch when I got out of bed, so I know what time I got out of bed. But wow, there's a big blank after that for a while. And I could probably recall it if I put a lot of effort into it, but I really couldn't be bothered. There's no point, you know. So in that sense, to say it's a bad memory is not a good description of it, but to say there's stuff not stored, for sure. Yeah. And in a way, I suspect that that's not a process of just part of a characteristic of waking up. I suspect it could be a characteristic of getting older as well, because as we get, I wonder if there's ego in this. We get smarter as we get older. We get wiser, or you know, at least we put things in a different perspective. And so a lot of things that we used to take as important are just rubbish now. We wouldn't bother anymore. You know, we don't take it as important. So, yeah, I rely heavily on my calendar these days. But they say, this is a good one. They say it's not about whether you can find your car keys or not. It's about when you find your car keys, if you say, "What are these for?" That's when you're in trouble. Yeah. So I suspect from what I've heard of you tonight, Kate, that there's still something unresolved about control or an I or something that's not quite.
I'm not going to deny that. Yeah, I think like Helen kicked off with, you know, there's still a bit of an agenda, and you know.
Yeah. Well, you know,
So if I really, really, really consistently landed the sense that you have conveyed about, you know, the seeing and the hand are the same thing. I mean, I've got my head, my intellect around that, but to live in a world where that was so pure would feel, I mean, that must be quite exciting.
Yeah.
Or not, I don't know.
I think so.
Is that what
Mm.
Yeah. Maybe I'm jaded. It has exciting moments for sure, but most of the time it's, you know, it's like the way that memory works, you know, like what did I do today? Well, you know, I don't know what did I do today, you know? Oh yeah, I remember now. I was holding the hose and watering the garden, and I put some fertilizer on the front lawn, and I was washing leaves, and I walked the dog, and I could probably keep on going and think of things that I did today. But when I just look at the day as a whole, it's kind of very ordinary. It just happened. It went past. Were there moments of specialness? Mm, Can't remember any. That doesn't mean at all that they weren't there. It's kind of there's a weird thing I said the other day to somebody at a meeting that there's a kind of this weird thing where we we kind of become invisible, you know, not a visual thing, but
Mm.
you know, I don't. There's not me and the world. There's just the world, and that's it. Yeah, it's
You know, I've had that sense too, but I think, still got this sort of, some sort of pressure, you know, to do with, I know, like the Buddhists say, you know, this is a precious human life, you know, you got to wring everything you can out of it.
and we are. You are.
Yeah.
I've no doubt. Yeah. What do you mean when you say wring everything out? That could imply you've got to put more effort into, but that's not what you mean, is it? You know, it's a case of
No.
appreciate. Let's appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of somehow the implication with appreciation is that we have to give it a conscious acknowledgement. Well, I don't know that that's true. I mean, there are moments, of course, there are moments. Now, you know, I was talking to somebody last night at a meal. We went out for tea, my wife and I, with a group of other people, and I was talking to a lady, and the conversation was mostly her talking about her physical condition of having this elephantitis or something, you know, like um, fluid in the legs that she had to wear these really strong, tight stockings all day, every day, and even at night time she would put these stockings on. Otherwise, she could get really sick and die. You know, it's like it was. But you know, the feeling of appreciation at that during and at the end of that conversation was really palpable. That how lucky am I to not have to go through what she went through, and how wonderful she was to be able to live in with that constantly there and so on. So there was that was a real highlight for yesterday, and I remember that. Um, but I didn't have any of that today. But I do in these meetings again too. There's a thing there where I feel celebratory about how lucky we are, how lucky we are. When you just look at the news and you go, wow, I'm so lucky. Isn't it brilliant? Yeah. Yeah. We decided tonight to watch, well, in Australia, we've got a channel called SBS, free to air channel, and it very, very multi racial. They, you know, they do the news all over the world, and headline after headline, he was saying, you know, I have to warn you that that you might get upset with this particular headline. And then he was telling us about all these, oh God, people in Tanzania getting driven out of their village, and people getting shot and raped by these militia that are running around the place. And then they went to another state in Africa, and the same kind of thing was happening there. Oh God, there's so much of the world, and all these people in prison in Israel, and you know, the Palestinians. There's 3,000 of them, women and kids. One kid was an American uh, um, Jew who went with his parents to celebrate something there, and they got him for throwing stones at at an Israeli tank, and uh, the jail sentence for throwing a stone at an Israeli is 20 years. Well, wow, you know, like when I was a kid, we threw stones, but not at tanks, but still, you know, there you go. Amazing. How lucky, how absolutely lucky are we and our kids and so on to not have to put up with any of that stuff. That's an amazing thing.
Through no credit to us.
No,
Yeah.
that's right.
Just
Pure luck.
the
Yeah,
constitutive luck, you know, just where, you know, where you were born and when, and
absolutely. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and yet you know, you can sit through these newsreels, and I don't know, I just, you know, even, you know, what are we doing when we do that? Are we? I mean, it, having opinions is not, you know, they don't stick. You know, actually, the opinions are just stories, aren't they? You know that no, you shouldn't have a law against kids throwing stones, but there isn't a law. You know that these things happen.
Mm.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. To me, it's like, you know, Charles Darwin noticing diversity in all the finches and the birds and so on, and just telling this story about how evolution will earn certain sorts of behavior or color, or, you know, certain sorts. But that happens in the human race too. You know,
Absolutely.
this diversity is feeding some sort of sense of direction of the human race. But that's a story, you know, like evolution's a story, and yet
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, it's important to appreciate that just a story doesn't mean wrong or bad or
Yeah.
anything along those lines. It's just a way of looking at something. And in the beginning, it can certainly be the source of a lot of suffering. Right? But we're never going to be without story. It's always going to be there. It's just the way things work. We have to do it that way. Like my story of there's going to be daylight tomorrow.
Mm. Mm.
Hey,
Hey, Tim.
hey, I'm on a bus. I wanted to check in, and but if you're still there, I'll listen in. I just wanted to. I was feeling a lot of gratitude for the meetings, and I just can't express how much they've really helped me. And if it's still there in about half an hour, I'll check in again, but I'll listen for now. But I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We probably won't be here in half an hour, Tim.
Oh, okay. No
It's,
worries. That's all right. Yeah.
it's just turned midnight here, so we'll.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we actually started this about 2 hours ago.
Oh, right. Of course.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never
All right.
mind. Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow then. Yeah.
We'll catch up. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. Cheers. See you soon. Bye.
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 So I want to focus on the concept of an agenda, or something missing, something to be gained. I think it's really valuable to consider whether that's a feeling. Is there a feeling that this is incomplete, or that there is something else or something more, or is it a logical conclusion? And of course that gets a bit tricky, because the logical conclusion can be responded to with the same kind of feeling that we're asking. So really, I'm asking you, is that feeling there first or second? Is the feeling there before the story or only after the story? What makes you think that you've got an agenda, Kate? What makes you think there's something more?
I'm really sorry, I missed quite a lot of that. There was something to do with my hearing aid went off.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So, what makes me I think I've got a very, very strong habit of curiosity and looking for explanations for stuff. I was brought up,
Mm.
The family religion was science, and
Yes. Okay.
that was. And there is something very satisfying about a good story, like evolution is a really good story.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's lots of great stories around this, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So so I haven't lost the pressure of looking for a good story. But then there is this cusp of, of the fact that a story, there's a limit to the satisfaction which a story can give you, because it's never true. It's never really encompassing. And that's really, I guess I just find that really hard habit to reach somehow. If only, I also came up through mathematics, and you start off at the top line of a maths problem, and you go down to the bottom, and you get a completely satisfactory, complete, story, which is sort of somehow true.
Yeah. I get it. Okay. So here's the thing. With things like maths, there is a distinct completion point, isn't there? There is the answer,
Yeah.
right? Science is not quite like that. As much as we're very, very analytical about things, whatever conclusion we come to today is recognized as a working hypothesis. It's not we're almost certainly going to find out more that will change our ideas. That's not the case with maths. Maths is very binary, isn't it? In a sense that it's either right or wrong. There's no halfway. It's either finished or not finished. It's just
It's like my addiction, which is killer Sudokus. You know,
all right. Yes, yes,
there's a right answer, and there's something sort of terrific about getting to the end of that.
yeah.
So that's, you know, but I agree, science is always provisional, and if it forgets that it's being provisional, it's not being science. But,
Yes, yeah.
But at
So
the
what
same
about
time,
this?
there is a speaking in it that you know, that I've got very hardwired.
Yeah, yeah. So I've imagined, you know, so a story turned up here some years ago now that said th- the I haven't used this one for a while. The the invitation to chase a a a thought puzzle down a rabbit hole is given a seductiveness, a strength, whatever, because of the promise of satisfaction when we get to the end. And so you've probably come across people who talk incessantly and they say things and they repeat stories. And I don't know about you, but I get to the point with them where when that happens, you know, and I think of a couple of people that happens to, and I'll say to them, "Oh, you've told me this story before." What I discover is they've still got to finish it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I've told them that they've already told me, they can't stop at that point.
No.
They've got to
Yeah.
finish.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an inbuilt, hardwired compulsion that we've got.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why or where it comes from, but I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit like that in lots of life, lots of aspects of life. We want to wrap it up. We we want a definite conclusion, kind of thing. But you can't find that in life, really. It's like you never find a straight line in nature. No matter how hard you look, you're never going to find a perfectly straight line. The reality of life is it requires a version of chaos just to keep going. It's the complexity of it is what gives it stability.
Yeah, I too at the minute I'm struggling. I obsess over things like Sudoku, and I'm doing one at the minute, and I just can't do it. I cannot do it.
Yeah.
And I've
Isn't
put
that
all the
great?
thought
Isn't it
processes
good?
options, and I just cannot do it. And something in me is saying, throw it in the bin. And
Yeah,
for the lads
you
who
won't
are
do that.
I'm watching this. Can I just throw it in the bin? And I can't. And this has been going on for about 4 or 5 days now. And I'll keep going back to it and keep. So at what point will I sack this thing off and say, right, that's it. That's it. And I'm just waiting for that moment. And it's really strange where I can just say, I can't do it, but I won't let it go.
Mm,
So it's
yeah,
like a dog with a bone.
I
And I
get
want a
that. Yeah,
resolution.
yeah. Well, hit reset and start again. I don't know. Yeah. I do. I don't do. I do. I love Sudoku, but I don't do many. But I do a Wordle every day, and sometimes I'll do that Wordle and I'll get it out in about 30 seconds and it's done, you know, and I feel really disappointed. I feel really ripped off. But then on other days I'm down to my last line and I can't work it out and I've really got to, I've tried everything and I end up trying words that I've never heard of just in case, because sometimes they'll come up with a word that I've never heard of. Not very often, but there you go. But they're the ones, they're the best ones, the ones that I got to work really hard at. They're ones that are
Yeah, but that's
so
what
easy. Yeah.
yeah, that's another one of my obsessions. But I now do Quordle,
Oh, right. Yes.
and there's 4 boxes that work on a continuum. So once you get one box,
Yeah, I've
it
played it a
fills
couple
in
of
some
times.
of the
Yeah.
yeah, and I love it because I love it is what it is, and it's pitch that you know it or you don't know it somehow, and but it is what it is. It can't be anything else. A bit like the mathematics that you're talking
Yeah,
about.
but
It
not
is
like
what it
life.
is.
But like,
yeah.
no, but you know that at the end of the day, if only you were better at maths or better at wordles, then you'd get it. So that there is a right answer.
And it's
Which,
lovely.
which Vince is very much saying, you know, dream on if you think you're going to find the right answer about life, the universe, and everything, because, you know, we haven't got, even, you know, we haven't got big enough brains. That's true. But actually, you know, there's a belief in an answer which is pulling you along.
Yeah. And I think that's where I'm coming from. I think I'm like, so when going back to the start of the thing when I came on, I'm still looking, I'm still searching, or almost like what's it, the book that has the answers is One Strange Number. Is it Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
almost that sort of feeling.
Number 42. Yes.
Yeah, it's the ultimate puzzle. But that's
But,
not life, is it?
but there's a lot of fun in a puzzle that doesn't need to be completed or that doesn't need to have the right answer.
Mm. Mm.
But what's pulling you along in the puzzle is that the belief that there is a right answer. I mean, maybe these Sudoku things are not always soluble, but there's something that pulls you along, which is a belief, and that's different from what we're talking about
Yeah.
life, the universe, and everything.
You could say there are background
Yeah.
beliefs about getting it or not getting it or whatever, you know. But isn't there a little thrill each time you discover what goes in that particular box? Or when you get 3 lined up? Isn't there a little thrill in that? And is that not what keeps us going? Not so much an end result. Each little puzzle, each little thrill on the way, each little discovery, every time we go, there you go, that's where it goes.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. I've still got a bit of it's testing me. If I can't do it, yeah.
Right. Okay. So there's a bit of a war going on for you.
Yeah.
One you have to win. Yeah.
Mm.
So these are fantastic opportunities to simply observe the details, the things that we normally don't notice, we take for granted. I mean, you can be so intent on finishing it that when you do get to the end, you don't have any memory of doing it at all. You know, it's just all it's done, finished. You know, what's next? On the other hand, that's kind of almost purposely ignoring the pleasure you get as you're doing it.
Yeah. Because at the end, all you've got is a bit of paper with a load of numbers on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. So
so
when
what?
you
So
know,
what?
my wife does this Wordle as well, and in fact, I've got a cousin and some other friends that also do this Wordle, and we're part of a group. We put our end result on Facebook, so we go, you know, well, I say to my wife, well, I got it in 4 today, and you got it in 5. You know, I'm that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah. Um, but you know, I can do it, and then she's doing it, and she might say, she's finished or whatever, for whatever reason, she'll say, what's the word? Not that she's asking me what the word is, but she's asking me to remember the word. And I go, I can't remember it. And I only finished it 10 minutes ago. It's like it's gone the moment it's finished.
Mm. Mm.
I've got to go and look again to see what the word is.
Yeah.
So that's a way of saying, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. You get to the end and, you realize it's only a piece of paper and it, is completely so what. But as you say, there's, we all have a heritage of, you have to persevere to some extent. When something's difficult, you just have to persevere with it. And it's one thing to give up because, oh, it's not worth it, it's only a Wordle or it's only a Sudoku. And another thing to give up perseverance when it's, the meaning of life.
Yeah.
They're different.
Mm. Mm.
So I'm trying to think, did I do Wordle today? And I don't know if I've done it or not. I'd have to go and look to see if I've done it. Yeah. In fact, it's too late. It's already tomorrow. So if I haven't done it, I've missed it today. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go off to bed. So
Well, thanks, Vince. Thank you very, very much, as usual.
thank you. Thank you. It's been good. Yeah.
Mhm.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye. Bye.